Muscatine, and welcome to this week's episode of the Muscatine Today Show with two chicks and a Chris. We have a great show this week coming at you. We have a lot of guests today. We got Pastor Sharon Phillips from the Jesus Mission and Outreach, and we have Shilo Hillman coming up after her from Pearl City Popcorn. And then you'll have two chicks and a Chris debating on all the eyesores throughout Muscatine. So, right away, we have Pastor Sharon next to us. She's been a family friend of ours forever. She did our grandma's funeral way back when, so we love Pastor Sharon. Pastor Sharon, could you tell us a little bit about the Jesus Mission and how long you've been a part of it and affiliated with it?
It'll be 40 years next year. My father has started it years ago, believe it or not, on the corner of Mulberry and 2nd, a little tiny mission building, and ran it. And he helped feed many people. My mother would take several of the children that were waiting outside for church and take them to Wintermutes, if you remember that. And then she would take them for ice cream. A lot of them had no food. And then during the winter, there were tents down at the end of Cannon on River Road. And my dad would go down there and feed people. And then, and last night a lady came to me and said she remembered it. She was real little. And also, at where we lived at on Roselawn, the railroad tracks where hobos were, I would go over there with my dad and he would feed them. And after all my life, I did ran from the Lord and everything, and then my life turned around and my dad kept praying for me, my mother, and I just had an experience, and I just was so thankful to be set free and have a second chance. I wanted to help other people. And then my father told me that I would start a church, and I thought, no way, because I didn't have the best of a name in Muscatine. I'm just trying to be honest. I always talk honest. And but somehow it all turned around, and the very streets I almost died on years ago, because I did struggle with drugs and I did struggle with alcohol and blackouts. And I had a miracle, and my life turned around. And when my father couldn't do the church anymore and my mother had a stroke, we all worked together to take care of her as a family. And then later on, my dad wanted the church to come back, and we didn't know how it was going to happen. But right before he died, all the doors opened, and he told me that I would preach, and I told him no, I wouldn't. But now it's been almost 40 years, so it's what the Lord wants, and that's what I'm doing. And then after about 5 years I have in the church, I just knew how many people that they just didn't have food. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to have a church unless we can feed and do all these things for the public. And that's how it began. And I went to all these meetings about money, and it was like, after a while, you just get tired of it. You just say, let's just walk by faith and do it. And that's what we've done all these years. We've had no state or federal. We've walked by faith, and God has been good. But I wanted to say these words that touched my heart. Dick McLean, a good friend of mine, gave me this book years ago. And in this book, I was reading this, and Mother Teresa said these things. And I'm not Mother Teresa. The only thing I have behind my name is mercy. If you are preoccupied with people who are talking about the poor, you scarcely have time to talk to the poor. Some people talk about hunger, but they don't come and say, I want to bless you. Buy food for these people. Oh, they can give you a beautiful lecture on hunger. I had the most extraordinary experience once in Bombay. There was a big conference about hunger. I was supposed to go to that meeting, and I lost my way. Suddenly, I came to a place, and right in front of the door, to where hundreds of people were talking about food and hunger, I found a dying man. I took him out. I took him home. He died there. He died of hunger. And the people inside were talking about it. In 15 years, we will have so much food. So much this, so much that. And the man died. See the difference? Sometimes you just got to do it. You got to do it out of scare. You got to do it out of fear. You just got to walk in fear and do it. And that's what happened. And God honored it and blessed it. So for this many years, 35 years we've been feeding, and I'm very, very thankful. We do 9 hot meals a week, and then we feed people all day long. We have a warming station and a cooling station, and that means if they're cold, they come in all day, and if it's hot out, they can come in there too. And we do showers. We get them rides to work. We have social workers in there. We work really hard to get them in rehab, or we work really hard to get them help. The sad thing is that when you take a person to get help, and anybody that helps in the community service or MCSA, they'll all tell you a lot of times they'll keep these people 2 or 3 days and they let them out again, tell them to go outpatient, which many of them don't have their minds. It's really not all their fault. We can say all we want to about them. We can put them down all we want to, but I know that I've lived in Muscatine all my life. And many of these people that had success are now struggling off drugs and they can't make it. And I think it's important to remember that when they were going to high school, their dream wasn't, oh, I can't wait to be an alcoholic. I can't wait to be a drug addict. That wasn't true. They had big dreams. But sometimes that stuff gets a hold of you. And when it gets a hold of you, it will turn around and it will destroy your life and destroy the family. I have mothers and dads and grandpas and grandmas that come to me weeping over their child or over their adult child or over their teenage child, telling me that they can't control them. And they're good family members. They're good people. And they don't know what to do with their child, and they'll commit them. They're out in a few days. The taxpayers pay all this money, and then they get out in a few days. The problem is that I know we have wonderful places to keep people. MCSA, God bless them. And we have emergency shelter, but we did up till last year. And we've always had emergency shelter where we took people in and we helped them and let them spend the night. But what's happened, and kind of bear with me, that the drugs and what they're putting in the drugs, it's gotten worse. I mean, you're talking about people that will use any chemical to get high. You're talking about household chemicals. You're talking about black tar. You're talking about anything that they can get in there to make them high. So what did it do? It destroyed their minds. Now, I get along good with these people. I can talk to them. We can feed them. And I thank God, because a doctor once told me, I'm glad you're feeding them, because if they're off their medicine or they're coming down from drugs, they need food. And so a lot of times they come in and they're yelling, and I'll say, you want a cup of coffee? You want food? And immediately they calm down. And so that's the way it is. We do it free. But I feel like it's a necessity. And so many of them in there, we have no paid staff because we don't have that kind of money. But all those people came back that got healed either from the church, the Lord, or rehab, or however they got healed. They have come back to help us. We have like 15 at the Jessica Face Closet, and we have like 35 at the Mission. But they came back because they got a second chance. And they do work hard, but there are a lot of them that can't work. Their minds are gone, and constantly I have tried to make my voice heard, and I talk throughout all United States. I've been to many homeless shelters. A lot of them don't have a homeless shelter. We are very blessed in Muscatine, Iowa, but here's the thing. You have people that don't have their minds and they're out of control. You have businesses in Muscatine that we must respect, or we're going to lose a people to another city. They're going to go somewhere else. So I'm going to be honest. That's the way I am. And I have calls all the time. I had a guy that feces on my out in front of my business, or they urinated. You hear things, and I go, well, they're not my people. And I said, believe me, I try so hard. We're trying to get long-term back. They closed up all the facilities that used to be long-term, and right now there's a couple that's been reopened. But you can't hardly get them in, because if you take them, and the law now says if they don't want to go, they don't have to go. So therefore, I have people saying, they bust my window out or they wrote all over my wall. And it's like, that should not be so. That should not be so in Muscatine, Iowa. We have a wonderful community, and you couldn't, with all the help we have and all these people and all the organizations, we should be able to see something different happen. Because what's going to happen is, if we don't get a handle on this, you're going to have tents and you're going to have people all over Muscatine laying on the ground. We can't do that. And then also, we have people that have had apartments. They did try to help them. MCSA helps all the time. But I've seen them trash the apartments because their minds weren't there, tearing things out of the wall, breaking things. And you can't do that either. They need long-term help. And anyone will tell you that. Some need to go in for the rest of their lives. Because a couple of these places that we have taken them to, they slowly get a job, like maybe laundry. They get a place to sleep, a place to eat, but they're structured. There's a structured environment, and we can only do so much. So I have wept, I have cried, and like Mother Teresa, you can talk all you want to. I can sit and do 20,000 meetings, but who's going to say, hey, we need to do this? Right now, I can't bring anybody in our outreach to spend the night because I want to tell you, last year, through the drugs, we had them on the church side, always helped them. But their minds went bad. A couple of times they tried to start a fire. They broke our sound system. They broke our cameras. And they had drugs hiding in the toilet where somebody else could go in and pick them up. And I won't put up with that. I will not put up with that. I do expect them to help themselves if they can. But when you have someone that's out of touch with reality, and God bless Robert Young and the doctors and everyone that works with them, but it's going to take more than a meal, and it's going to take more than talking to them. It's going to take a facility that they can be in to give them a structured environment. Right now, I've had several people sleeping outside our building, and I've gone home and wept. I had a man last night that had a little puppy, and I was so concerned that they were going to freeze. And I told him to go in the foyer. I'll put you in the foyer. I'll put you in the foyer. But he wouldn't go. And what I'm big in Muscatine for is somebody that will donate a building, a 501c3. You can get a tax write-off, even for the winter months, because even if they have mental illness, and I watch their mom and dads cry, they didn't wake up one day and say, I want to be here.
Shouldn't that be essentially what MCSA is doing? I mean, isn't that the building and facility already to take care of that? You're saying we need a second one?
I have kept people that they can't take, and there's reason for it. When you have mothers and you have children in there, there's certain ones that can't take. They cannot have them there, or they don't have certain things like IDs and stuff. So we'd work together, and I'd send people there, or they'd send people to us. So we did have to start something. And I went through the city and I got a zoning permit. But right now, we all have our struggles. We've all had things that we've had to deal with. But no, there's nowhere to put certain people.
What kind of, in all the times you've been doing this, what kind of increase would you say homelessness has grown in Muscatine County over these years? So if you go back 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, what kind of increase would you say we're seeing in Muscatine?
When we were at 401 Mulberry, we only dealt with Jeff Murdoch, and what a blessing he was. He didn't have his mental illness and things that happened. He was an excellent artist. But that's how, that was one of the first ones I actually met. And oh my goodness, I can't even begin to tell you. I think we get everybody situated, and then you get a whole new group in, you get younger ones in. I don't even know how to say the percentage.
It's
increased
It's
higher
easier to be homeless in Muscatine right now.
So since it's became a much bigger problem, do you think that you're seeing a lot more of these homeless people that are not from Muscatine or not from our general area?
Well, what we do is we have somebody that comes by, and this is so funny. They get online, and you know how they fall in love, and they get on these lines where they're dating, and they come to Muscatine, and then they come to our place like, I gotta get back home, you know. And I said, why in the world would you do that in the first place? And anyway, so we've had to get bus ticket money. We've taken our own credit cards and everything to get them home because we didn't want them lodging here, because I feel like we already have enough, but we wanted to be kind to them and get them back home. Or we have somebody that came here and tried to have a new start, and they struggled again, and we took them back. I can't even tell you how many we took back home.
Do you think, though, if we had my concerns with like that second facility is, I think there's a fair consensus that homelessness may breed homelessness. So if we've already got an increase and we had another facility, does it potentially have more homeless people outside of the area want to come here, which would, you know, exacerbate the
third
problem?
location.
Yeah, we take them home. If they come in and if we can get them home or call a family member, Dave has driven even to Florida. I mean, we've driven all over the place to take them home. But what I'm concerned about is people here. And I have done 3 funerals in 7 years for people that froze to death. I can't handle that. And then also some of the destruction that's going on in Muscatine. And you have people that really need it. Don't get me wrong. And we even feed middle class at this point, and we even feed low income because they can't make ends meet. Their credit card maxed out. I'm being honest. But even if it was a winter, just a winter, temporary place, and just got them in there while it was cold. And I'll tell you, they hide everywhere. They will hide everywhere. And sometimes, I had a lady call me the other night, and I'm in a shed, probably a shed she shouldn't have been in. She's 58 years old. She says, I'm freezing. I don't know what to do. I'm so cold. And so you do get the women and you get the men, but we can say all we want, but we don't want it to end like Seattle or California, because if you do start letting the tents up, which we've had tents try to be made in our facility, in our lot, we got to do something. But also we can't let people control us. And just because I've seen both sides, and they might say she doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm just one corner. Everyone has a story here in Muscatine. Wonderful nurses and doctors, the hospital, the police department. Sometimes they don't know what to do with someone. MCSA does an excellent job and takes so many in. But I'm dealing with people that are sitting on our place till we close it, and they're trying to think where they're going to go at for the night. They burnt bridges everywhere. So, and if you put them in an apartment, they're going to trash it and hurt that landlord. Or they're going to go outside and have feces on the wall or in front of their doors, or urinate, which I get calls about. What do we do?
Sounds like the best solution, and I think we've talked about this a little bit before, is some state solutions that the state, they've shut down, whether it used to be a Mount Pleasant or some other facilities like that over the years. And it sounds like some of those facilities would be beneficial across the state because like you said, there's a lot of people that's just going to be their life. And if you give them a home, you give them structure, you have them work, help with the facility maintenance and responsibilities, things like that, I think would be probably one of the better answers. Because I don't want them on the streets, and I don't want to keep building homeless shelters to have people coming to Muscatine and
can't
grows.
have that take over our population. And obviously the Jesus Mission, it's nonprofit. You don't do it for money, and it costs money to operate, and food and feed them and take care of the building and all that. Is there a lot of donations that come through there, or
Never enough.
where does it get funded from? Because obviously I see my Walmart bill at home. It's expensive. I couldn't imagine feeding.
We do 9 hot meals a week, and we do food all day long. And there's some restaurants in Muscatine that have given us food to help people through the day. And but no, we've gone by faith. That's why I was so impressed by Mother Teresa and Mother Angelica, and different ones that have just gone by faith. And I'm like, well, we can do this, because they kept telling me in the beginning, there's no way you can do this, Sharon. You don't have money. But I trust in God. And so people will bring in food to us or give a donation. But no, we go down to zero because here's the thing. I get 12 letters a day asking me for money. I know what the public goes through. I know that people can give, but I'm being honest, I don't want to milk them. And so I'm always like, should I reach out to them or should I not reach out to them? And sometimes I do reach out to people. I do write letters because we do a big Christmas program for children of families that are incarcerated. We do a great big one, 35 years. And then people that, we have a Winter Wonderland downstairs in entertainment. We do that the second week of December every year. And then we do a Thanksgiving one. That'll be Friday night, by the way. It'll be 4:30 to 6:30. And if they call the outreach, we will bring them a meal if they don't want to come in. A Thanksgiving meal. But you can see like we're stuck here to know what to do. But I will say that what are we going to do? Because they passed a law that said if they don't want to go, they don't have to go. And if they turn around, because I begged a guy, I said, look, we can get you in Delhi or Hillcrest, or we can take you to Penn. And if you would say yes, or they have to have, somebody, a guardian. And we've gotten 3 people in because of community service helping push that through with guardianship. But if you can't get that through the courts, they're allowed to go back on the streets, and they'll tell them they can go back on the streets. And I'll beg them. I'll say, but they can't help themselves. They have nowhere to go. Well, they're allowed to go back on the streets, and I can't say a word. So I'm frustrated, and the businesses are frustrated, and different people that run places, because it's a revolving door too. The revolving door is when you help someone for a year, and you don't see them get a job in that time, and you don't see them pick themselves up, and then taxpayers go back in to pay another year. I have a very hard time with that, because I feel like they need to get up. If they can get up, and a lot of them there, they'll help us, they'll clean, they'll run the truck with Dave, they'll help at the closet, they will help. And a lot of times they want to help. And we've had several of them set free off meth that have jobs now. But it's hard to be involved with them constantly and encouraging them and tell them to keep going. But I'm talking about the ones that don't have their minds.
Yeah, most of them gotta want it themselves. It's a personal decision to make. You have to have the support, but you have to want to be better for yourself too. And that's hard for people to force it on others all the time. So I can see the revolving door here in town. We rent to a lot of them. We've helped a lot of them, but it probably overall it ends bad for us as a business too. In your 40 years, how many success stories do you have for the people thanking you that are now in home ownership, and is that
Kinda
story
got their
out
lives
there?
together.
Got their life together, and
I have 2 file cabinets full of people that have done so wonderful, and thank yous. I could show you these thank yous. I could throw them on the table, and I kept them. I wanted to keep them because I wanted to be a story saying people can get better.
Yeah, them were good stories.
that's the stories we're always looking for, because right now it seems like in Muscatine, the problem has amplified tremendously over the last 4 or 5 years.
But even
we notice it more on our scale. So that's the thing where we are like, we're not taking anybody from the MCSA because it costs us so many tens of thousands of dollars in the business side to redo an apartment and all that. And trust me, I've probably helped 30 of them. And I have one gal that went off to buy a home, and she's my success story for helping one. But other than that, it's a scary risk on a landlord side, like you said.
Well, our basement got trashed over at the closet because one guy broke in and he pulled the pipes loose and the heater loose, and just dug out the drywall. And the police came, and I came down there, and I knew him very well. I don't want to say his name. And he goes, but I was fixing it. See, that's where
he probably thought he was.
Yeah. Yeah, and it cost us $300 to fix it. But anyway, if we could help like the hospital and the police officers by I don't know, people should write letters to the governor.
Yes.
We need long-term facilities.
We need better laws to make it where it's not as easy to be released back on the street. You should have to get through a program first and prove a little bit more than just being released so easily.
I've got a few contacts at the state level that's either state representatives or state senators, and I'll reach out to 3 or 4 of them and see if they're even talking about this at the state level. See if there's anything in the works, because I think it's probably the only solution to help statewide.
Well, and so one thing I want to toss out real quick, and this is, we often talk about like a person sitting at home, what's the next thing they can do to help this situation? And MCSA every year in January does a point in time study survey. I don't know exactly what they call it.
Yes, they do.
Where they basically canvass the community to find out that night what the homeless situation, those experiencing homeless, what that is for the night. And that's going to be coming up in January. They've actually announced that they're looking for volunteers to help conduct that study. So, we always talk about like, what's the next thing that you can do to help? Reach out to MCSA. Everybody can, I don't know about everybody, but a lot of people can find one night to help the community to find out. And I think after that point in time study, we'll also have a lot more fresh information on what the community is actually facing. And then we can kind of roll from there into what some of the other solutions are.
But tonight, what do I do with these people that have nowhere to go and that are going to freeze? And listen, you can count them, because they always work with us to see how many we have, and they do a wonderful job. But there are some that hide.
And
they hide.
You're certain these few that you're referring to, there's no path for them to stay at MCSA? They've already burnt their bridges. They've already been to their time limit.
Is there a reset button at MCSA?
I
believe you take the ones the MCSA won't, or you try to help a little harder than the MCSA does.
No, MCSA does a remarkable job. I'm like, wow, how do you guys do it? But they have family and children, so you can't have certain people in there that are, off the charts, or very delusional, and it would scare the kids. Or if you have somebody that has a record, or somebody doesn't have an ID, they don't know anything. But we have taken them in and we accommodate MCSA. I don't want what they do. They work hard, and it's a lot of work. We work on the showers and laundry, getting them work enrichment, get them to work, 2 weeks worth of food in a sack to get them to, have a lunch in the middle of the day, because they'll say, I was so hungry and I had no food. Well, they keep letting you think, well, we better do something about that too. But, the bottom line is that I have people that are going to freeze, and I don't want them to freeze outside our building. And if I let them in, they're going to destroy. We would have up to 15 to 20 people in the dead of the winter, and that's it. The other ones we were able to take home. We take our own credit cards and get them on a bus to get them out of here, because honestly, why do I have to have the taxpayers here pay for everything when we could just take them home?
Yes.
And I'm not against anybody that's hurting. We love them. But I will say one thing about the church world. The churches do a remarkable job, and they don't want to be recognized. And we have seen so many delivered through Jesus Christ, and people don't want to hear that. But however you believe, or whatever your religion is, there's power in that prayer. And so the churches, when you ask them, they go by Matthew 6, when the Word of God says, do you do what you do to be seen of men, or do you do what you do to be seen of me? And I would say, Lord, I do what I do to be seen of you. But I do know that there has been a high success to keeping these meals going for 35 years. And I do know for the showers and people getting jobs, we have seen many. So, and so has MCSA. Everybody has a good story. And that's what we want.
Now that we're going into the cold season and in the holiday season, do you have if somebody wanted to send donations to you, could you give that information?
Yeah, we do write out letters at Christmas because we do a big Thanksgiving, a big thing for Noah's Ark, big picnic at Wildcat Den for over 35 years and, everything. And then we do a Christmas. Anybody that would like to give anything, we are at 513 Mulberry Avenue in Muscatine, and we're there all day. And we appreciate anything. We appreciate anything. So we're very thankful. And then Jessica Faye's Closet, which we've outgrown that. I'm praying that somebody would take a tax write-off, and we need a building because everybody in Muscatine that gives to us and we get packed out. We're giving this to you because you're giving it away free, and we want to do that. And then you have people from Illinois that heard about it. They have us come pick things up. Burlington, Moline, you wouldn't believe it, all because we give things away free. But we need like a small warehouse, and we'd helped the Indian reservations for 13 years, Pine Ridge, which is the poorest in the United States. We've helped Africa and Mexico because we have enough left over where we can. We help furnish apartments, anything we get, dishes or anything, we just give it back to the public. So we're very thankful for all that. And then when we started the Flickinger Learning Center, it was John Flickinger had the vision, and Dick McLean and me and Ron Hagens. There was several of us, and they said we couldn't do that. Well, look how long that's been running. 24 years. They said you can't run a closet without money. How long's that been running? That's been running for 26 years. So anything's possible. I truly believe that. I couldn't go by money. I had to go by faith. So I do want to thank all the churches that have helped everyone. I want to thank, you got United Way, you got all these places, individuals that care about people. I can't thank them enough. The bottom line is that we've got to change the system. So if they go long-term, they can't say, no, I don't want to be here, and they let them out the door. We've got to make it to where it locks in and says, because we have 3 people that have been long-term for the rest of their life. We were able to break through hoops, and Felicia helped do that at community service, and we're able to keep them there for the rest of their life. One of them told me that they were doing laundry, they're eating, they got their own bed, and they're doing really good. And so there are like 3 places available, but it's pushing it that we can get it done.
Sure. Yeah, we got a really long show today, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Pastor Sharon for coming by and sharing that little bit of info. We learned a lot, and thank you so much, Chris. Dan, you got anything else for Pastor Sharon before we go on?
Pastor Sharon, the one thing I want to say is after you guys started Flickinger, I was able to be on the board for quite a while and help with it. And that was definitely one of the things that has grown out of your labors. And it's a tremendous thing, still is to this day. So thank you for that.
Get your mouth ready for some popcorn. We got Shilo Hillman coming up next.
Well, thank you. And if you do need a delivery for Thanksgiving, you can dial 563-264-5430, and we will make sure tomorrow, late afternoon, you will get a real nice Thanksgiving meal. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Pastor Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon.
Up next on Discover Muscatine.
Welcome back. We are here again with Shilo Hillman.
Hello.
She is the owner, operator, popcorn extraordinaire from Pearl City Popcorn. She is at 128 West 2nd, Suite B, but it's on the Chestnut side.
Yes.
Shilo has been there
She
since.
did bring us
She got lots of samples
little
here.
samples
Lots
here
of
today.
samples. And who don't love popcorn? Shilo, you've been there since March 1st of 2019. So
Yes.
You're coming up on 6 years
6
in
years.
the popcorn world. Before all that, how long you been into popcorn?
So we started helping my parents. Oh my gosh. Probably 18 years ago at the farmer's market up in Davenport. Yeah. So they got out of it
With a
and
Mr. Air Popper? Or
no, like in the big kettle.
Oh.
Yeah, where it's like napalm.
Kettle corn.
Yes, this is like napalm. And then they got out of it. And we saw what it could do. So we started our own here in Muscatine Farmers Market. And after 2 years of that, it's a lot of work. It's heavy equipment.
Was that much work?
It's a ton of work. It's heavy and it's hot in the winter or in the summer, and
Tastes good.
yeah, it tastes good, but it's a lot of work lugging that stuff around. And we were working full-time jobs, and it consumed during weekends. So the ex-husband was like, either you do this full-time or I'm done. So we opened the store.
Yeah, I remember meeting with you when you were talking about going across the street.
Yeah.
Share some of the products you have. I mean, you got these
So,
here, but there's some other things you're selling.
yeah, we brought caramel, Windy City, which is number one. Just regular cheddar. Yep. Blueberry cheesecake, which we developed for domestic violence.
Nice.
Caramel apple, big in the fall.
Gotta be a good one.
Yep. And then caramel drizzle, which is.
So what's the difference between caramel drizzle or caramel corn?
So that caramel drizzle has caramel and a little bit of salt. So yeah.
So
Here-
it's solely just popcorn that you're.
I have popcorn, and then we sell Heinz ice cream, which is made up in North Liberty.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a tiny little ice cream store. But I'm really good friends with the owner, Peggy. She's an amazing human. They have a location in Iowa City, but if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Yeah. So
Yes.
the ice cream is a huge draw. So
Yeah, I've had your ice cream a couple times.
their ice cream is amazing. High cream content, high fat content, totally worth it.
So you also make, like, we know Christmas is coming around the corner.
Yep.
And I loved it. My kids haven't done it in a while. I'm looking at you. Remember the popcorn tins of the
Yep.
fry? and
Yep.
all that? You do all that as well?
Yep, the tins are a big hit at Christmas. Not your $5 Walmart popcorn tin.
No,
So
that's good quality popcorn.
yeah. So I mean, you pay more, but you can taste the difference. So
So
Yeah.
right now you're getting busy with Christmas orders?
not quite yet, but with Stroll coming,
Jingle mingle.
yeah, yeah, that is my biggest night of the year, and
Yes.
we always look forward to it though.
Yep.
So
And are you part of the jingle mingle this year?
always,
Okay.
always.
We got a guy, the other Chris.
Yes,
That jingle mingle.
yes, good guy.
But we did a little segment a few weeks ago on parking meters. Does them affect your business at all?
They
Have you heard any of your customers got tickets?
all the time.
Come back.
Not that they don't come back, but they definitely,
Have some frustration.
yeah, they do. And I'll take care of the ticket for them if they get it. Yeah.
Yeah, we know other business owners that have done that too.
Yeah.
It's nice because you're on an actual meter. You're not on the free parking
Right.
side. So just wanted to see how that would affect businesses, actual business owners.
Yeah.
It's not us just chicken chicks opinion.
Yeah.
Wait, so here's my question.
Sure.
Can I just bring in any random parking ticket and trade it for popcorn?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, dude,
I don't know
I'm
about
going to
that
be
business
rich.
model, but
I'm going to eat so much popcorn because I have so many tickets.
I mean, we might get tickets on purpose.
Right. So, but no, if they bring it in, I'll just take care of it for them. Sometimes I feel like they're kind of vulture-y, like they hang out.
oh boy, sometimes I think the same thing.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
they will see
Like
that
they
you
got a
have
drone
very little
following my
time
truck.
left on your meter, and they circle back right when
Oh,
they know
yeah.
it's gonna.
And
There's 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
I can only go around the corner.
I didn't know they increased the rates.
That
I
was it
just
last
found
council.
that out
Yeah.
yesterday. I put my money in. I'm like, excuse me. So yeah,
Yep.
Good
Feels like
job.
you got docked 8 minutes, right?
I put a quarter in and got 20, and I thought it was broken.
yeah.
So
How long does it take to pop a batch of popcorn if someone's waiting?
Um,
like 50, well, you paid to put 75 cents in.
yeah, it just depends what I'm making, but. They're like, I've got like 10 minutes on the meter. Can I? And I'm like, you might want to go throw another little bit in. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So there was a Facebook post the other
Yeah.
day that drew a lot of comments.
yeah.
So could you explain a little bit? We know the power of social media.
Yeah.
We're there. Our opinion is, I personally love the post, but I know a lot of people that want you to feel good about your posts and all that. Tell it like it is. That's me. I mean, if your employee don't come to work, We said that a couple weeks ago.
I
You get your
say
ass
that
fired.
I put people to work every day. I say it every day, and I've about got my ass fired a couple times because I tell them employees what I think because I have higher expectations for people.
Yeah.
And you
So-
have a full-time job as well.
Exactly.
So that employee, I mean, I can see the frustration on Shilo because you were probably at work.
I was.
You have a business that needs to be open.
Exactly.
The person's responsible to open it because you're not in town either.
Exactly.
You're in Iowa City. So I can see the frustration.
I was
I know the
royal.
backstory
I was
because
pissed.
called you a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah. So
I was royally pissed. I've had a lot of frustrations with this particular employee. I try to be an understanding person. I feel like I am. I have a lot of past employees who I'm extremely close with. I've been to their weddings and baby showers. They call me their popcorn mama.
popcorn mom.
Yeah, and to
That is the greatest nickname
We're
ever.
gonna have to have that on the front window.
right? And to just have these keyboard warriors to just come out and start making accusations saying that I abuse my employees and things like that. I mean, that's really hurtful. If you know me at all, you know I am an extremely sensitive person.
How can a popcorn mama be mean?
Right. Just it really I'm from the Quad Cities, but I have adopted this town as my own. I've really come to love it. I feel like I've done a lot for this community with helping with fundraisers and donations and things like that. And for these people to just come out of the woodwork that don't know me, have never worked for me, have people that have never stepped foot in my business say, I've never spent money there and never will. Okay, bye. You can't miss money that's never. I was just really hurtful.
Yeah.
But the situation with that employee, they were just speaking to me as a boss. I told them, I said, I feel completely disrespected by you. And they were just speaking to a way to me that I was not comfortable with. And I told them the conversation we were having was inappropriate. And they said they were done 2 hours into the workday. They left my business. I was unable to make money. This is how I feed my children. This is how I take care of myself. This is how I support myself.
So was the business
So it's
unlocked
important.
while you were in the
It's
Quad
important.
City?
I was in Iowa City. I'm an hour away. I'm in the middle of my job. I work in the busiest ICU in the state. So I was in the middle of my work day. They shut my doors, left the keys in the mailbox. Okay, Muscatine, I love you, but there's a lot of this homelessness problem. I've watched people dig through mailboxes downtown where anybody could got to them. And so they left my business open to anybody that could have gone in there, done whatever, taken whatever. And I asked them to no, please take them back inside and lock the door behind you. They refused.
That is frustrating.
Yeah.
I see that as a business
So
owner.
when I made my post, I was pissed. And was it the most professional thing to do? Absolutely not.
Sometimes
And I
we
made
don't.
my post out of anger. Was it right? Probably not. But I've been recently divorced, and
You're pissed off right away.
yeah. I mean, this last year of my life has been the most difficult year of my life, and I'm in this whole I give no f's phase of my life right now. And
it won't get better.
yeah,
We'll
right.
keep selling popcorn. It'll get better.
So I was angry and I wrote it, but I felt like I posted it in a way where I kept it very neutral. I said they couldn't conduct themselves like an adult. That's all I said.
It wasn't a bad post.
I don't think so either.
I mean, knowing the backstory now, what you probably could have wrote, but
I could have said a lot more, I
but
feel like.
you held back. I mean, I've done that too in social media, and it's hard as a business to.
I'm just so frustrated. I've had some amazing employees. I've had a lot of crappy ones. So
And we're coming out of the worst shopping and all that.
It's-
And I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I got all this rentals downtown, but there's a lot of people that, that bakery left because of business, and we've lost a lot of great businesses.
I've talked to so many
throughout
business
downtown,
owners. It's been a really rough couple of years.
We had the construction,
Mm-hmm.
that sidewalks that people couldn't get by on their businesses. And then right after that, COVID set in.
Yeah.
So it was a double whammy for a lot of businesses downtown. So
Yeah.
And we
you
had
to
lot of
survive
road,
both them.
lot of road construction
Lots
over the
of road
last 5-10
construction.
years on Grandview Avenue
Yep.
and
City-
River Drive here. It's been rough the last
City
few years.
don't, I mean, you can voice some concerns a lot. City don't care if you're selling bags of popcorn because their project's going no matter what.
Exactly. I mean, and I don't know. Inflation has hit me really hard, and I've talked to a lot of other small businesses downtown, and I've heard the same thing from all of them. It's been a rough couple of years. So
Did the city, I mean, I don't run a small business or anybody. Did the city ever volunteer to help out with making it easier to
Oh,
get
no.
to your place
No.
during all the construction?
oh no,
Yeah, so making it through that time was pretty incredible because you had to rely on the farmer markets
Yeah.
and fairs and events and
Oh,
all
yeah.
that to keep business sustained. You've been in downtown for 6 years, so great job. I know
Mm-hmm. Thank
it's
you.
been up for sale for a while.
Yeah.
May have a buyer, but you may not. But
yeah.
you got in Hy-Vee recently to sell popcorn?
So they reached out, and between my personal life and working and everything has really been in an upheaval this last year. I honestly haven't had the personal time or the mental capacity to deal with a lot of people that have reached out. So with people that have been interested in the business, I kind of offer that as, hey, they're interested. This is a possible profit,
Sure.
way to make money. So there's more money to be made there. I just haven't had the time to deal
Yeah.
with it.
It's hard
So
to have a full-time job. And
it's
explore all
extremely
them
hard.
options
Yeah. And I do a lot of driving every week up to Iowa City. So yeah.
Or if you need any taste testers, I'm sure Chris, Dan, and I would.
Yeah.
if
You
come
guys
with any
are.
new
Come up with
flavors.
New flavors,
Nick?
you let us know first.
The holiday flavors are getting ready to roll out. So the cinnamon and the peppermint one with the white chocolate is always a favorite. So
He likes tomato flavored.
Okay.
Let's slow down a little bit.
Can I get a jingle and mingle flavor popcorn?
Just exclusively Jingle Mingle,
Jingle
Yeah.
Mingle. What are
Yeah.
you thinking?
I don't know yet.
See, people have ideas, but they don't.
No, I mean, I can think of a couple off the top of my head where I
Okay.
might go,
Okay.
but I might have to play a little bit.
Hey, let's like release that the week of the show before Jingle Mingle.
You
The
probably need
flavor.
some red and green.
Say I have the holiday. I can't. Kringle corn is what it's called, and it's red and green, peppermint flavored, with the white chocolate on top. So, yeah,
Ooh, anything with white chocolate, I'm in.
that's the Kringle corn.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to do something really cool.
Sugar cookie flavor.
Ooh,
Everybody likes
I
sugar
might be able to
cookies.
make something work.
Sugar cookie.
Development takes a long time.
Red and
though.
green sugar cookies.
I might.
We've
maybe red
got
and
2.5
green
weeks.
sprinkles.
That's plenty of time.
I have my other job though, and my kid. So-
Yeah, that's all good.
So 119 or 128 West
It's
Second.
technically it's 119 Chestnut.
119. That's
Yes.
right. I knew that. It's
Yeah.
sweet. 119 Chestnut.
Yeah.
City-wise, 128 Sweet Bee.
That's the service address.
That's the service.
Yeah.
What are your hours?
So
Pearl City popcorn?
we're doing 12 to 8, Tuesday through Saturday, but with my employee issues, hours might be reduced so it might just kind of have to be 5 to 8 because it's going to be solely me doing things right now.
You
So,
looking for an employee?
it depends on if I get a
Check.
buyer.
All right.
So
Tentatively a job.
yeah,
available at
yeah.
Pearl City
It may
Popcorn.
depend on the new buyer I have coming in. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
It's a great trinket shop for downtown Muscatine. It's always been I loved it since
Thank
you've been
you.
put it in.
Yeah,
and
no, you guys have
I-
been great.
I love
So,
your Facebook post, by the way.
thank you. I've had a lot of support. I had a lot of people coming in.
I don't know if you've seen our post on a Saturday.
Yeah, I've
have
made
you?
I've made many worse posts. than
Well,
that
I
over
appreciate
the
that.
last
I've had a
several years.
lot of people come in yesterday saying, keep being you, keep doing you. You did nothing wrong.
Facebook. I tell
They
every-
appreciate
I
the
tell everybody,
honesty and-
Facebook's a rough place. If you're gonna put yourself out there, good, bad, indifferent, get ready to to have things coming at you both barrels.
Yeah,
from a lot of
there's a
different
lot of keyboard warriors out there.
Well, we are us. We are us.
And that's
it's
what
hard-
I'm like.
it's
I'm going to be
hard for me to hold back
unapologetically
a
me.
lot.
I am me. Love it, hate it. I don't
Yep.
care.
And that's
So.
why we got 2 chicks and a Chris. Because Chris tries to keep us honest, but it's not honest.
We like
it's
to be a
just
little honest.
Right?
yeah.
There's always 2 points of view.
Exactly.
Authentic. Yeah. Thank you for coming on
Absolutely.
today. Chris,
Thank you.
Dan, do
Appreciate
you guys have anything else you'd like to share with Shilo?
Nah, I'm good. I'm just still trying to figure out why all the popcorn ended over there and not on my desk. But
It's staying here. Don't worry.
Here, like on this side of the room.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're
Well, that's you
talking
can fight amongst yourselves.
Real quick
So-
before you leave, you ever remember going to the parties where they did the dumps in the barrel and you drank it?
No, Brian, I
Have you
never did
you ever
that.
done them? You ever mixed them all? And
You know, I want to make
Have, like,
one
the
called
garbage
Everything But the Kitchen Sink because I have so much like little bits left over
Yes.
sometimes. So
you can donate it to Pastor Sharon.
I could, when I have like stuff that's about to expire, I want to just take it to like the MCSA or her or something.
Yeah, that's
so
a great idea.
might be a fun little treat for something different
I
down
think
there.
if you keep the place, we ought to think about that new name though, Popcorn Mama.
Yeah.
Pearl City's
I should get
Popcorn
that
Mama.
on a license plate or something.
Pearl City's Popcorn Mama.
Popcorn Mama.
Well, thank you so much
You're
for coming
welcome,
on to our
guys.
show.
It was fun. Yeah.
We're going to take a little break for our sponsors.
Up next on Discover Muscatine.
Welcome back. We are back with 2 chicks and a Chris, Muscatine Today Show. Going back for driving from Grandview Avenue to downtown. Notice like recently over the last several years, there's a lot of eyesores starting to pop up.
I would agree with that.
The come and go on Grandview has been boarded up since the come and go on Cedar Street's opened up. At one time they put a new gas sign on it, and they thought they were going to open. They got a new name on it, and it's been sitting empty for a while. You come up a little bit, to the corner of Carver Corner where that's going. You got that White Way Motel. You come up, and then you got the J&K Button Company, which is coming down today to start a little better curb appeal. That area of town starting to look like, what do you say, downtown Detroit? Or it's just starting to be ugly. It's ugly.
Right.
We need to work on getting, we put so much money around Muscatine. We did that road from all the way from headquarters to Park Avenue. We put tons and tons of money in that.
Yeah, and there's
now-
still some areas that don't look very appealing. And that gas station right down there by Dollar General, like you said, Come and Go owned it. White Way owned it. I don't know if White Way went bankrupt, what the story was with them. But it looks like a boarded up, it looks horrible to drive through that redone corridor and see that across the street. They're finally fixing that Redberry up across the street. I think a Mexican restaurant or something's moving in there. So that might look a little better. You come up into these, and historians probably won't like my opinion on this, but I think a lot of the old brick buildings and like that old White Way down at the bottom of Green Street that, there's been one brick fixed on it in the last 400 years.
He just does.
There's things that it's time to move on, and if they're important to our history, then maybe something needs to be collected, put in our museum up here.
With a picture?
But we don't save, in my opinion, everything from the beginning of time can't be saved from Fred Flintstone's first house. It's gone. The first log cabin, it's gone. Things progress, and I think the newer modernized buildings and things will make our town look much better. We're gonna redo Carver Corner, which is really an eyesore. All those trees, fencing, that just looks like junk. Eventually, that's going to be beautified. Put a roundabout in down there. The Hawkeye lumber is bad. There's one that I brought up a few times to our mayor is the trailer park across from Mom and Dad down on Indiana Street. I used to live there, 30 years ago or so, and there's boarded up trailers. There's trees falling down. There's garbage all over. Windows out. I don't like that look of our town, and I think the city needs to put some pressure on those owners and things to make something happen.
So a lot of these buildings are getting close to outliving their life. I mean, if you look at 1875 on some of them. We get a lot of people that keep continuing wanting to save older buildings. We try our best, but the bricks are starting to fail. Everything's starting to fail. They sped the trains up a few years ago, which caused more vibration through.
Well, we still have
downtown.
down there where Avenue of the Subs is. I don't.
Yep,
They've had that alley closed for. I don't know if it's going to stay closed.
It's open now, but nothing has done. I mean,
so
from closing it till right now, it's the same crack.
And then we had the one up on the corner. What was the name of that one? The Welch
building.
Apartments.
Yep.
And they're working on that. But the thing is, these buildings do have a life cycle, lifespan, and they're coming up to the end. Instead of trying to repair them so they make it another 15 minutes, it's time to think about the future and more beautification.
Well, a lot of these people that are trying to save the buildings probably remember Jupiters and Spurgeons and shop there. And if something was to happen, or grandma lived at the Welch building or the White Way Motel, or they shopped at Come and Go. When do Muscatine start to rewrite its history?
Right.
We've lived on the watermelon. We've lived on the clam, the pearl. I understand that that's where Muscatine come from, but where 100 years from now, my kids.
What's the next?
My kids
what's the
don't
next
even
thing?
remember when Casey's come in. So I mean, when they don't care about it as much as Grandma does because she bought a T-shirt or a blouse there years ago.
Right. There's nothing wrong with remembering the past, but time marches on. It's going into the future with new products, new buildings, new types of roadways. That's kind of what makes. I'd rather go down a town and see the new beautiful, like the building you guys built at Ina Mae's.
Yes.
I mean, Ina Mae's, we have a lot of history there. It meant the world to us. We worked there forever, but it was past its time too. Now you got a building you drive by and say, wow, that's pretty cool. They're neat.
Yeah, and in order to make, it made a lot of people mad tearing down Ina Mae's. It hurt my heart too. I worked there from 11.
It was there forever.
But look at what's there now. We are in the process of tearing J&K Button down right now for the future and expansions, and it makes a lot of people mad because they're used to that skyline when they come from to see that building first. But if you ever walk through it, you probably wouldn't feel safe walking through it.
I don't think anybody's driving down that Mississippi Drive and seeing an old brick building that's half fall down from 300 years ago and excited and go home and that's what they remembered about Muscatine. They may remember a building like that new one.
Yes.
So here's my question. And this is, I agree with everything you guys have said in principle. Muscatine should look better. Great. I'm all for it. Here's my question. How do you do it while still respecting the property owner's rights, their own autonomy, and preventing the government from overreaching, right? So, Republicans historically have always had arguments of autonomy, and Democrats have always been the overreachers on spec. That's not a hardcore thing. But how do you balance quote unquote community beautification and betterment with an individual property owner's rights? With like what you guys do, Brian, it's great because you guys are all doing it individually, right? That's you as a private business and it works for you. How do you balance this with somebody who may own a building that doesn't want to do that?
Well, that's a challenge. If they own it, they have the right to do with what they want with it. But there's also some responsibility. I heard for years like that White Way Hotel at the bottom of Green Street that whoever owned that had to do so much repair work or it would have been demolished. There's some code, city code zoning that may have required it to be torn down. And he replaced a corner brick. If you go down there, you can still see where he placed it. And apparently that's what held on for the next, 100 years. I don't know how long it gets to last because you replaced a brick. But so there's going to be some fine lines there to whoever may own that gas station down there and some of those things to get them on board. So maybe there's some kind of incentive to help them move along.
See, and I love the word you just mentioned there. And this is a conversation I've had with a lot of people in the community and leadership is I love these concepts. It needs to be incentives, not sticks, carrots, not sticks, because otherwise I fear that you start trampling individual rights really quickly. And I don't think that's where any of us want to go, but we all want a better community. So the only way to get there is incentives, in my eyes.
Right. It's incentives too. Is like we got an incentive to remove the asbestos and help do it with some city grants and stuff like that, and that made a lot of people mad because we're tearing a little bit of history down. But I guarantee you, in the end, you'll love what comes there. It has to be done. If you would never get any engineer in the world to sign off on the condition of that building to make housing, living, commercial, retail, anything there. So it needs tore down to start over to make it more efficiently done. And grain processing did McKee Button, and they.
Yeah, when they get done with that, it's going to be
amazing.
That's
going to be
crazy.
beautiful.
Thank
That's
God they did
absolutely
it,
crazy.
but it come with a pretty price tag too.
Right.
And a lot of people, don't have that kind of revenue to do stuff like that. But yeah, then a lot of stuff downtown. What do you think, Chris, is what should be the renovation of Muscatine to bring it up to a little more modernized look for, I absolutely love going to North Liberty and the suburbs around Des Moines. It's brand new. It's fresh. It's busy. People.
Yeah.
You're not going to get Texas Roadhouse to go in the J&K Button.
No.
So, I mean, you need something. You need a new, vibrant, like building around the Merrill with new stuff would spice up that area. But you've got a brand new Merrill with, older stuff every direction you go.
Well,
Even our building down there on 411 West Mississippi Drive, contrary next to it, it's a destination. We want to get, shops similar to that around it. We need some parking.
yeah.
So that's why a part of this project's parking lot to support the business that
Yeah.
will go in next
If you
door.
put parking lots in there, you going to put meters or?
I could put my own parking meters. And
That would be awesome.
maybe
I'll make you an app.
let's get an app. I think that'd probably help pay for the project.
Or
No.
would you just make some parking to make sense that business, that
No, I
people
like-
would come?
Heck with there's meters here, there's meters there.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I think the tough thing is when you look at some of the development, like at IRL, Iowa River Landing up in Iowa City, that wasn't in the original downtown, right? There was lots of open space, and that's where a lot of those newer developments are going. So when you see those fresh places, if you look in downtown Iowa City on the streets around the university, it's still kind of this vibe, right? And so I think that's the one thing that we need to be cognizant of is how do we expand? Like you've got areas out by the Palms Theater that are being developed and some places like that. Is that where the modern goes and the historic stays here? Do you blend them? And again, for me, it comes down to each individual property owner and what makes sense for them and their business and their property. But you can then incentivize the things that you want to happen in the community's best interest. And I think, honestly, if we're going to go on to what makes the community look better, the one thing that drives me more nuts than anything.
We'll say it.
What do you think I'm going to say?
Storage units.
No, it's not. We all talk about like maintaining grass and all that stuff and how important it is. And the most highly used street in Muscatine County by far is the bypass. You drive down the bypass every day, all summer long. You've got 14, 18, 20 inch grass all the way down through. That's what everybody sees of Muscatine is an unkept median and on the sides.
Yeah.
I talked to somebody from the state. They won't even mow it until it's 14 inches. Like they won't even consider mowing it.
14 inches is the limit?
Yeah. So,
And it probably gets to 24 because they're like, oh, darn,
yeah,
missed
right.
it.
And I mean, here's the thing. On one hand, I get it. You're maintaining a highway. But also, if you want to talk about things that people see all day, every day and how they remember Muscatine, that's what they see in my eyes.
It would be nice if we could get the state. I'm not sure how many times a year they mow it. It does get pretty tall, and I do see them mow it. But it might be one. It might only be once a year.
It's actually, because I have some connections at the airport, so to speak, I have there's actually a policy on how they do it. It's, and don't quote me on this, but it's got to be a minimum of 14 inches before they mow it. They mow it down to 6 inches. And then I think it's scheduled like 4 to 6 times a summer based on those criteria. And the interesting thing to me is it's also designated in the policy that it's 1 10-foot, I believe, path, right, on the sides and the median. Well, the median, if you look at our median, it's a little bit more than 10 foot because their 10-foot mower doesn't cover all the way across. There's always like a strip of stuff in a lot of places, or around the sides and stuff like that. To me, those are the things that make us look a little more unkempt than anything downtown. I think people notice the crazy median more than they notice some flaking bricks on a building on 2nd Street.
Yeah. Nobody really sees the flake and brick. You probably see the new Pearl Plaza sign.
You do see,
that
yes.
from
And
Bridgeside
again,
or
I'm not,
something
now mind you, I'm not going down a huge rabbit hole here, but just like,
No.
let's think about all the stuff, right?
You have a connection at the airport?
You even
Something
see-
like that.
We talked about little short flights.
Yeah, that would be nice. We'll get on that one.
Okay, we'll talk about
But
that.
That was a movie quote. I don't have a connection.
Even
to
on
the airport.
2nd Street, 2nd Street needs to be our main corridor in town. And that would probably be the street that you would want to keep some of that history and nostalgia. But my wife loves to use that word all the time. I didn't even know it was a word. Thought she
Nostalgia?
made it up, but
Is that back to old
it's
shit?
just like an old shit.
We don't want old shit.
But you know, if you look across the street now, the paint's coming off of these buildings. A lot of wood on them and getting old. So it would be nice to see some of those. You know,
We just got involved with the
revitalized
facade program
and,
up at the other end. But the first thing they want to do in order to qualify for the facade program is they want to bring it back to the 1904 look. That they got pictures of all of it back in the 1900s, and they're trying to even the paint colors and everything. So one of my buildings is green and beige.
Well,
So-
and that's what was interesting about that whole process, because I went through it with our old building, and it was to a point. And, you know, with some of like the upper windows, they wanted to put them back to these odd sizes that would require you, every time a tenant breaks one, you're basically having a custom window rebuilt.
Yes.
Rather than, and I think this is where we really need to go, is rather than making it like 1904 again, let's take elements of 1904 and blend it with what is current, modern, functional today. I know they wanted to put a solid wood door going up to the apartments, right, with a painted wood door. I'm like, no way. We've had this door kicked out from the inside twice in 6 months. I'm not replacing a solid wood door every time somebody decides to kick out a lock.
It's the wood, you know, from the outdoor element. Sooner or later, the life expectancy is a lot less. Probably why they 1904 got rid of them.
Right. So again, let's not go back to 1904. Let's take the design elements or the design cues of 1904, make them in modern materials. And, you know, like a lot of like even Pearl Plaza and our building was like this to a point, you know, you expose the original brick, but put some nice new floors in, right? We don't need to use those old thin pine floors or the, you know, I think that's just kind of the way to go.
I think you're right. I think you're on the right track there.
So a consensus is out with the old, in with the new. Sheila, your nostalgia crap, gone.
No, not that far. Recognize.
Not completely.
Gone.
No, here's the thing. Recognize the past. Appreciate the past.
That's what the
Respect-
museum's for.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, but you can do it. You can have like little tributes here and there.
picture and a brick.
No, I agree. I'm just,
But
There's room for both, but I think, you know, the town, some of the downtown area would be more the area for that. Some of this down on River Drive, going on to Grandview Avenue. I mean, some of that stuff, it's past its time.
I think we need to focus more as a whole town. I mean, Park Avenue looks nice. Coming downtown looks nice. Downtown's nice, but once you get past
about right here.
Kelly's and
No, well, even-
once you
even
get
a couple of these
you wait
buildings-
until J and K's down.
Yeah, it'll
It's
look
gonna
like-
look beautiful all the way out. You get through GPC, the new headquarters, past there to Hardee's, even the Dollar General, even the bowling alley area is looking nice now. It's just that little section there. It's downtown Detroit. I don't know. It seems to me like that's been ignored a little bit in that area with lots of boarding up stuff and.
Yeah. Not a good
A
look.
lot of they put all that grass in the approaches and all that a lot of people had concrete out there. They wasn't even sure they had to mow it, but now the business owner has to mow that little stretch of grass they put in front of Arnold's and Hardee's and all them businesses where that used to be grass. And, you know, and that's not all mowed at the same time, so you see different heights of grass
I would
there.
like to see that all be concrete.
I'm
to be honest with you,
paint
but
green concrete, you know.
yeah, if you want to
AstroTurf. Just AstroTurf.
AstroTurf, I love it. Yeah, it's been a rather lengthy show. Chris, Dan, do you guys have anything else for today?
I've shot my mouth off enough.
We'll wrap it up. Everybody
Wrap it up.
enjoy the holidays. If we don't get back to you, I think we
Thanksgiving's
might.
next week. Enjoy the family time with your
Well,
loved ones. And
The only thing I like to add is every year for the last 50 years, we play a family football game every Thanksgiving, and
his ass is going to
and
lose.
I'm all-time quarterback
It's
on my
on.
team, and Brian on the other, and he beat me for about 14 years in a row, and I got him last year, so I got to continue the trend.
He's made it where he'll stop the game. He'll see if somebody has a cell phone picture of it. He'll try. When review come back in the NFL,
We could broadcast this.
we should broadcast it.
We could broadcast it.
I think we should straight live because you see how much he cheats on me. He thinks
God.
because he's 4 years older that he gets to set the rules.
If you ask my kids on my team,
They cheat
Captain
too. He
Cheater
raised
over
them.
here changes the rules every year, gets one extra touchdown to win the game. Last year he couldn't pull it off because I beat him like by 4 touchdowns.
So he's the Chiefs.
He's the cheater.
He's
I'm
the
the
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah,
He's
I-
the Chiefs. Call the NFL, make sure they send some of their refs down and they know he's the Chiefs.
This year our niece has a family trophy that's going to be a traveling trophy, and we talked about it staying at Mom's house no matter what, but it would be in my old bedroom or his old bedroom or something.
I think it needs to be. We need to hire a referee because your ass has been cheating for 50 years. It always comes down to that last.
On
play.
that note, everybody, let's focus on Jingle and Mingle in a couple of weeks. Get your Christmas stuff ready. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, well,
Take us out, Brian.
Hey, remember, we are Muscatine. You have a great day. Enjoy your loved ones at Thanksgiving.